There's no guarantee with an escalation clause that you'll still get the property. In fact, a seller can decide who they want to sell the property to. And sometimes, a seller may sell the property to not even the highest bidder. They might just say, we like that person, we want them to have the property. So there's no guarantee that even if you put in an escalation clause that you will be able to get the property. Hi, this is Anita from Real Estate Crunch, where we give you some real estate information in about 5 minutes each week. And today we want to talk about something called the escalation clause in real estate. And what exactly does an escalation clause mean, and when should you consider to use one? In a very competitive real estate market, it can be common for a seller to receive several offers on a property for the same property. And maybe they might even, put the property up for sale, and in one day they receive 10 offers for their property. So, depending upon your budget and depending on how tight the market is or how much you want a house, or property, you might consider to put on what's known as an escalation clause. So the escalation clause is also known as an escalator. And it's a section in a real estate contract that states that a prospective buyer is willing to raise their offer on the property should the seller receive a higher competing bid. So essentially what you're doing is you're putting your bid in and you're saying, look, but if somebody else gives you a higher bid, we are willing to go up such X amount of dollars or such an X percent in our bid to be able to get the property. So, there can be there could be some times when, you really might want to use an escalation clause or an escalator in your contract that you might want to be able to put that in and to let the buyer know. You should consider to do one if you're in a really tight real estate market, or if is really a property that, several people are going to put offers on and you really decide that you want to have this property. Then it might be worthwhile for you to put an escalation clause in. I want to point out that not every property that is bought and sold will have an escalation clause. In fact, this is an extra clause which is put into a contract. So if you have a real estate agent or realtor that's telling you to put one in, even though it's not a tight market, I would really ask them why. Why are you asking me to do this? Because of the fact that there's several reasons where maybe you don't want to have the escalation clause into the contract. One of the main components of an escalation clause is that basically you are telling the seller, here's the bid I've given you, but really I can go up higher if you want me to. And so if it's not a tight market, and if you want to try to get a deal on a place, you maybe want to be able to keep your original bid. But if it is a tight market and several other people that are putting an offer in and you don't want to lose your offer, then it may be worthwhile to put in the escalation clause. There's no guarantee with an escalation clause that you'll still get the property. In fact, a seller can decide who they want to sell the property to. And sometimes, a seller may sell the property to not even the highest bidder. They might just say, we like that person, we want them to have the property. So there's no guarantee that even if you put in an escalation clause that you will be able to get the property. It's just something that helps you to ensure that if there's a higher bid, that you will be able to still be able to be competitive in your bid itself. But an escalation clause does show to the seller that you are serious. It does show to them that, look, if I need to go up in price, I'm willing to go up in price. So it does really show them that you are a serious buyer and that you want to purchase the property. So a few things to understand about an escalation clause. So let's say, for example, that you bid on a property for $300,000 and the buyer has agreed to an escalation clause, let's say, of $20,000. So in other words, the price that you'd really be willing to pay would be $320,000, in hopes that, that price means that, someone won't offer $350,000 or $400,000, but you're willing to, in your escalation clause, you say you're willing to pay $320,000. So a problem that you could have with this is, let's say that the home is only worth $300,000, it's only praised for $300,000, but yet the escalation clause goes in and suddenly you're paying $320,000 more. Then you will not be able to receive the funding for the entire $320,000. You'll have to come up with the cash for the extra $20,000 because the home's value is higher than what you purchased it for. The other thing too is that the seller has to show to you that they have had a real offer. In other words, they can't just have their friend put in an offer and try to bid the price up and get a bidding war going so that you pay more. They have to really show that they have had an actual offer on the property itself. So really, if you're looking to have an escalation clause, the reason why you would use one would be that if, one, you're in a very competitive market and you know that several offers will be put on the property and you want to be able to remain competitive on that bid. But you do not just want to put one in because you're also telling the seller that how much more you're willing to pay for the property than what you're giving them the offer for. So you need to understand the basics of this, and we have a blog that we've written on this that you can go in and read some more details on this. We'll put the link to the blog below. But you want to be careful if your realtor is just telling you to put an escalation clause in on every single contract and every single offer. You want to make sure you really understand what that means and what that means for you and your bid that you have put in. This is Anita from Real Estate Crunch. Thank you so much for listening. We do appreciate you. If you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. And we'd like to thank our team who helps put all this together. Thank you so much.